almost done. It's complete. Now we have to wait for the results. Stop it! Stop it! This is unholy! I'm Lucas Vanwick. I study at the IIB University. How much will the rent be? 175 Deutsche Marks. Stepping into his new abode, Lucas stared out the balcony. The view of Berlin was amazing. An apartment right at the center of the city, just 10 minutes away from the IIB University. But standing there, what caught Lucas's eyes was something or someone else. Wow, she's beautiful. It was a gloomy afternoon. Lorelei was in her shop, tending to her flowers, when she saw a young man step in. I'm looking for Digitalis purpurea. Are you from the IIB University? Yes, I meant foxglove flowers. Do you have foxgloves? I understood you. A lot of botany students come here to get exotic plants for their experiments. Come with me. I'll show you the nursery. Wow, you have a nursery. As Lorelei escorted him, suddenly, she heard a loud sneeze, and then another, and another. Excuse me, I have allergies too. I have never seen a botany student this allergic to flowers. You know what? My house is actually just behind the shop. I'll get you some medicine. Thank. I'm Lorelei, by the way. You are? Lucas. This became Lucas and Lorelei's first meeting. But despite how allergic Lucas was, this wasn't their last meeting. Lucas often visited the shop, and soon, he and Lorelei became friends. I wish I could invite you over, but I have a roommate. It's really not going to be comfortable bringing a girl over. We can always go to my place, you know. Lucas and Lorelei often hung out at her place. And as the days passed like this, before they knew it, they were in a relationship. It was one day, while Lucas was at her place, he noticed some books on the shelf to the corner. Dr. Herbert Caligari. Yeah, just leave that. You want to have some coffee? Before Lorelei could pull him away, Lucas took down a small photo frame on the shelf, almost hidden away. Is that who I think? Lucas looked at Lorelei. You are the daughter of the famous scientist, Dr. Herbert Caligari? And you didn't tell me? More like infamous. No, not at all. Just because of one failed experiment, don't discredit him. Dr. Caligari was a genius. His research, his work was amazing. You think so? Lorelei, do you know where his research is? What happened to him? I really don't like talking about him, and I don't know anything about his research either. Lorelei, please. This would mean a lot to me. He was like an idol. Lorelei suddenly became annoyed. Well, he isn't to me, all right. After that experiment, Dad lost his mind. I don't know what happened to him. You don't know how hard it was for my mom and I. If it wasn't for that shop and some savings, we would have been in trouble. My mom did everything she could to support us. But now, even mom is no more, and I want to forget the reason why. I'm sorry. I didn't know. After that day, Lucas didn't mention anything about Dr. Caligari to Lorelai, and they just moved past it. But it was one evening, when he dropped by Lorelai's place, he found the house silent. Lorelai? Lorelai had gone out to the backyard when she thought she heard a sound. What was that? Lucas, what are you doing here? I was calling you. I found the door open. I thought you were here. Oh, I was in the backyard. Come on, let's get out of here. Lorelai, I just remembered. I have to go pick up some papers. I'll see you later. All right. But that later never came. In fact, the next 3 days went by, and Lucas didn't drop by the shop or come over. What happened to him? Is Lucas home? Lucas? He doesn't live here anymore. He left the apartment. What? Lorelai couldn't understand what happened. Why would Lucas suddenly leave without telling her anything? But in all this, it was then that Lorelai discovered something shocking on the news. Dr. Luther Heinrich's groundbreaking discovery may end the chronic shortage of donor organs. After his predecessor devastatingly failed just a decade ago, Dr. Luther Heinrich, an IIB University professor, performed the world's first heart surgery using functioning human heart tissue that can be grown from plants. This is a revolution in bioengineering that can solve the problems of regeneration of human tissues and organs. How could he? This is Dad's work. Reading the headlines, Lorelai suddenly remembered the last time she had seen Luke. Lucas, what are you doing here? I was calling you. I found the door open. I thought you were here. Basement, where all her father's research and work was stored. Though Lorelai had always kept the chamber locked, that day she had overlooked the matter and thought she had mistakenly left it open. But she was wrong. Lucas had broken in to steal the work. It's not here. It's not here. That liar. Lorelai was furious. She couldn't let this go. She searched the entire neighborhood, the entire town, asking anyone and everyone. Until one night, she spotted him out on the streets. Outside a club. You did this. You stole my father's work, didn't you? Didn't you? How could you be so? Who is she, darling? You want us to get rid of her, Ren? Lorelai was disgusted seeing the women surround Lucas. But he chuckled and ushered them off. Come on, sweetheart. Don't blame me. What good was all that nonsense coming in? At least now your father's research is coming to some use. Lorelai stared at crisis thundered, realizing the man whom she had fallen in love with wasn't who she thought he was. He was never a simple university student. He was a thug. It had all been an act. He wasn't Lucas. He was Ren. "You fraud," Lorelai said, getting hold of his collar. But that's when his gang surrounded him. "What's the problem here, Ren?" "Nothing, guys." "Sweetheart, this is my part of town, and this doesn't suit you here." Today was the day Dr. Luther was finally given the honor of being the head of the science department at the IIB University. Using plants as a basis for tissue engineering also has economic and environmental benefits, and by exploiting the Bainige chemistry of plant tissue scaffolds, we could address the many limitations and high cost of synthetic, complex, composite materials required in organ transplants. We could be saving lives. As everyone applauded, Dr. Luther looked amongst the crowd, suddenly stopping at a certain individual. What is he doing here? Take over for me. I'll be right back. Leaving the stage, Dr. Luther ushered Ren to his office, trying to escape the eyes of the public. "What do you want? I thought I gave you your money." "Yes, you paid me what you promised, but I didn't realize this was such a big deal. I betrayed her love. I guess whatever you paid me was good enough for that. But you didn't tell me what I was stealing was so valuable that it would make you a millionaire overnight. So, unless you want me to reveal to the world that none of this was your work, and it was the work of Dr. Herbert Caligari, and it was you who sabotaged his experiment, I think we can negotiate something more suitable." "You're going to blackmail me?" What? Was I lying? Despite the rumors and bad reputation, Dr. Herbert Caligari was truly a genius. 10 years ago, he had perfected a method in which he could successfully repair damaged organs and perform organ transplants with that of human cells cultivated and grown from plants. Everything about his research and work was on point. However, on the day of the final experiment, performed in front of the science committee and government officials, everything turned into a disaster. Stop it! Stop it! This is unholy! But none of it was Dr. Caligari's fault. It was Dr. Luther, his colleague and rival, who had cunningly made some small adjustments and tweaked the results completely. But after the failed experiment, Dr. Caligari was devastated. He started to lose his mind and blamed himself for what happened. "You took the life of an innocent child. How could you? How could you make this mistake?" That was the last time anyone had seen Dr. Caligari. His disappearance, however, became an obstacle for Dr. Luther, who wanted to get his hands on his work. Dr. Luther had visited his wife and tried to make her give it up. Look, Bella, perhaps I can help you. I know it wasn't his fault. Tell me where he is. I don't know. And at least, hand me over his research. I give you my word I'll keep it safe. You know the consequences of this getting into the wrong hands. I'm sorry, Doctor. I can't do that. Dr. Caligari had strictly warned his family not to give up his research work to anyone under any circumstance. Lorelai, you know I have always been a good friend of your father. Tell me where he is. At least, let me talk with him. I told you, I don't know where he is. Dr. Luther couldn't convince his wife or his daughter into handing over his research. He decided to take other measures. If you can get a small job done for me, I won't disappoint you. What do you need me to do? Steal some paperwork. Dr. Luther then instructed Wren on how he could get hold of the research. And Wren very cunningly donned the disguise of a simple botany student and lured his way into Lorelai's life. And on the right opportunity, found her father's laboratory as well. Jackpot. How much do you want? How about you pay me a monthly... Suddenly, Wren stopped in his words, staring at Dr. Luther's hand. What's wrong with your hand? Dr. Luther looked at his hand, shocked by a green rash spreading rapidly. And that's when his eyes fell on a strange plant left on his desk. Where did this flower come from? How long has this been here? Dr. Luther ran out to the reception as Wren followed. Who gave this flower? How did this get in my room? A young woman came in this morning. She said it was a gift. What? Did she have blue eyes? Dark hair? Yes, as far as I recall. Before Dr. Luther could say or do anything, he collapsed to the ground in a seizure. Dr. Luther, call for help! What is happening to him? Wren watched in horror as his body transformed completely. Herbage grew out of his skin as the seizures intensified, until Dr. Luther passed away right in front of his eyes. Lorelai took her revenge from you, Doctor. But as for me, I guess I'm not as fortunate to have a quick death. What is happening to me? Wren didn't realize, that night in all the hustle, Lorelai had infected him. Wren's lungs had begun to shrivel and die out. His skin was peeling off. He was suffering a miserable death of a withering plant. But although Wren had understood his end was near, there was something about Lorelai he didn't know. Lorelai was her father's daughter. Though she barely had any formal education, Lorelai had all the talents of Herbert Caligari, great scientist. Her father taught her everything he knew. That day when Wren had broken into the laboratory, he hadn't realized there was a secret chamber within. Father? Dr. Herbert Caligari was still alive, though not truly himself anymore. After the failure, in his devastation and guilt, Dr. Caligari continued to conduct his research in secret, and even experimented on himself, the results of which caused him to develop a new form, galvanizing his human state, and required him to stay within his specially designed greenhouse chamber to survive. Dad, your experiment has been terminated. That is best for mankind.
Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.